Hey everybody, this is Dick Hirsch, SAP mentor, cloud blogger, and today I'd like to talk about SAP's cloud strategy. And I'd like to do sort of analysis, which I call the many layers of the onion. I'm calling it that because if you look at the SAP's cloud strategy, there are all these different facets, all these layers. And so I'd like to cut through it and just take a look at what we find. So let's get started. At the recent Sapphire in Madrid, there was some dispute, some discussion about SAP's cloud strategy, and I was one of the people who told SAP that they should work on their messaging, that it wasn't clear, that a roadmap was missing, and a typical quote was, "It can't be that difficult to describe all this stuff." And I said the same thing. I said, people, you gotta tell the users, the customers, influencers, what's happening. What's it all about? And then recently I sat back and I said, well, why is it so difficult? What are the reasons why SAP has such a great difficulty making this so clear? So that's what this presentation is going to be about. Let's take a look. So if you look at the timeline of SAP's cloud activities, I mean, you got to go back a ways. And I'm not talking dates, I'm just talking just in terms of the chronological development here. I mean, first it started with business by design. Okay, then we had the old edge versus core platform as a service, which was more or less ABAP core versus Java core. Then you had the acquisition of SuccessFactors. So these are all sort of things which have influenced the strategy. Then we had the emergence of the NetWeaver Cloud as a platform as a service. This was sort of described in the Edge core platform as a service debate, but this is when it really started to emerge. Then we had what's called the HANA App Cloud, which is where we saw applications which were HANA-centric start to emerge in the cloud. And no one really knew where these applications fit into the scheme of things. Then SAP bought Ariba. And then recently in the Sapphire TechEd in the TechEd in Las Vegas, we had the emergence of the HANA Cloud Platform, which is sort of the all-encompassing foundation for SAP's cloud strategy. So what this is that we see that there's no constant sort of foundation that's remained stable over the last, I'd say, 2 years. There's been a constant evolution, which means that it's made things very difficult for SAP to really describe what they're doing because it's changing at more or less on a monthly basis. So that's one reason why it's so difficult to just say this is what we're doing, because it's changing all the time. Another reason that it's so difficult is that there are such a wide variety of solutions, offers which are involved, and this is also changing quite rapidly. And I just have a few of the solutions here. And because this is changing, I mean, every time you get a new solution, you get new customers, possible new customers which are involved, new industries, and it makes things very, very fluid. And you have new inclusions, for example, the NetWeaver Cloud and HANA XS in the cloud. So this all means that there's constant change, and the bullpen, as I describe it, is also increasing on a monthly or perhaps even a weekly basis, which makes it confusing for people to understand really where SAP is going. You also have what I call the reduction of the complexity. This is an old architectural slide for I think about a year and a half ago, and you see that this is complex. Okay, this is difficult for people to really understand. This is you have different applications here. You have different you have the ABAP runtime, you have the Java runtime, you have HANA involved, and it's very complex. Okay, so basically what it's happened recently, and this is a slide, or actually it's a picture that I cut out from a video. You see that things have started to reduce. I don't know whether you can take a look at this. This is on the left-hand side. You have the cloud applications, people, customer, money, and suppliers. And on the middle, you have the cloud platform, which is the SAP HANA Cloud. And then on the right, you have the business networks, which is the Ariba network. Okay, down below, you have the infrastructure and lifecycle management. The problem is when you reduce things, the certain things which are necessary to really understand the complexity, of course, go missing. And here, for example, you see that many of or all of the applications that are based on HANA directly on what's called the HANA App Cloud, they're gone. And also all the solutions which are running on the NetWeaver Cloud are missing. And so this means that the in the reduction of complexity, some things just go missing, which sort of make the story more difficult to understand when you talk to certain individuals. We also have the necessity of SAP to cover what I call all the layers. This is, you see that they're involved in software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, virtualization, hosted on-premise, so they're everywhere, okay? And because they do all this, people expect that everything fits together and everything, the structure is coherent. And if you look at, for example, the association between the software as a service and the platform as a service, software as a service, you have things such as Ariba or SuccessFactors, which don't run on the platform as a service that SAP is offering to customers right now. So there's a break there. And then you have, for example, the idea of platform as a service, which SAP is promoting right now. The existing, or many of the existing SaaS applications don't run on it. They run on sort of a hidden platform as a service. For example, if you look at the financials on demand, this is also based on a platform as a service, but not the NetWeaver cloud. It's sort of the old core paths. So this is something which are difficult for people to understand. And I mean, if you look at sort of what SAP has in terms of its cloud offerings, they cover all company sizes, from the SMEs to the medium size to the enterprise size. You also have to cover all the customer types. You have to cover the on-premise. You have to deal with people who are dealing with hybrid, with pure cloud-based customers. This means some customers, they don't have an on-premise from SAP installation. They just want financials on demand, for example. And you want all types of customers. This means that you have small one-man shops, you have the large SIs, and you have to cover all those with these offerings. And then you have to cover all regions. This means that you cover such things such as the larger areas of the world that are the United States, EMEA. Then you all have to cover the emerging markets such as Brazil and Africa and China, and this makes things more complex as well. And if you look at the diversity in terms of on-demand offerings, you have some which have been around a long time, which are very mature, for example, by design, and then you have others which are still really in early planning stages, such as the automobile cloud, which runs on the NetWeaver cloud. And then you also have to try and develop your developer ecosystem. That means that you also have to remember, I need offerings to bring developers into the environment. For example, the HANA 1 Developer Edition, which runs on the Amazon cloud. And then you also have to deal with mobile and social trends. So this makes things very, very complex, and which makes it so that doing an easy two-liner to describe the cloud strategy is a definite challenge. And one of the main factors for me, which makes things difficult, is what I call the organizational factors. And I'd like to say the three gangs. Okay? The three gangs are the HANA gang, the SaaS gang, and the NetWeaver Cloud gang. And gang here, I don't mean it to have any negative connotations. That's just a group of individuals at SAP who basically come from a certain organizational structure within SAP. And they all deal with cloud, and they overlap, and they interact with each other, but still each one has a very particular view of the cloud strategy. And at the current time, because these different perspectives exist, there is no harmonized cloud strategy which would bring all of them together. I mean, I don't know whether that's even possible, but the distinct perspectives of each group um, bring their own particular distortion with them. So let's take a look at the first gang, the HANA gang. The leader is Vishal Sikkim, and the focus is on the platform, okay, in terms of cloud. And in particular, they're dealing with the HANA Cloud as a platform. This is a relatively new idea. And they have various offerings. For example, they're a variety. For example, first of all, they have applications such as EPM on demand and sales and operational planning. And then they also have database as a service, which exist in, for example, the Amazon cloud, and since a few days, the KTU cloud, which is primarily focused on the Asian market. And you have things here such as the HANA XS environment, or the XFX offering. And this perspective is quite distinct from the other gangs, okay? And this is one of the main problems that exist. Okay, the SaaS gang, okay, the leader is Lars, and the focus is on applications, okay? And their territory, as I call it, is SaaS applications. This means they focus on things such as success factors, Ariba, business by design, and travel on demand. And the problem is these are offerings which form a large chunk of SAP's cloud strategy, but it's not the only chunk. And I think that's one of the main problems that we have here, is that often you talk to these people, they ignore everyone else. There's some reference to, for example, the platform as a service, but the idea of the HANA App Cloud and what the potential is there, maybe it's too new, but that's really not discussed at this time too much. And finally, we have the NetWeaver Cloud. This is leaders Bjorn, and the focus is on platform as well, but not the same focus as the HANA gang. They're more focused on what I wouldn't call it Java-centric, but they have a different focus than the HANA Cloud. And they are complementary, the HANA Cloud and the NetWeaver Cloud, but they still have a different perspective on the two. And you have things offerings such as the precision retailing and the product stewardship and the financial services network. And what I call known associate, you have people like the SAP Research Group, who is working close with the NetWeaver Cloud, the Global Business Incubator, the NetWeaver Cloud Portal, Integration Service. So there is an interaction between this group and the other groups, but they still have a very particular perspective on the cloud strategy, and which is different from the attitudes of the other groups. So in conclusion, what you see is that doing a cloud strategy that everyone understands that encompasses all this complexity isn't easy. And I don't know whether it's even possible to do this, to bring all these different perspectives into one. I mean, it's like I said in the beginning, it's like the onion. And you have to slice the onion, and then you have to just start taking off layers to find out what's in the side. And maybe it's not possible, but that's in one of my next blogs, presentations. I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to try and take the role of an SAP Cloud marketer and try and bring all these various factors together, just like the picture here is, to maybe have a balance between these various perspectives. But we'll see what happens and see if I can do it. Okay, thanks.